First, I'd like to thank Pastor Coleman again for the opportunity to stand here and share with you all what God placed in my heart. Make sure you have your paper and pen ready. Grab your extra pen too, because you might write a lot more today than you normally do. Your backup pen in case you run out of ink. I got a lot I want to share with you, and I'm going to switch it to turbo mode. So if you're one of the slow learners, you want to switch your brain over to turbo mode. Everybody got turbo mode? Anybody not have turbo mode? I got an extra one in my pocket. If for some reason you feel God pricking at your heart, don't panic. I prayed for you. If for some reason you hear God whispering in your ear, don't fret. I prayed for you. I prayed that whatever God gave me to share today will invade your heart in a way like never before. You see, when you read your Bible, you will find that you'll encounter many stories about the lives of many different people. Okay? Some of those people failed miserably. They were failures from start to finish, and some of them had great success. Great success. They say smart people. Wait, do I have any smart people in the room? They say smart people learn from their mistakes. But they say wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Okay? Again, smart people, their own mistakes. Wise people, other people's mistakes. So if Bill walked down this street and fell in a ditch, I don't have to walk down that street to see if I'm going to fall too. I stay away from that street. So today I want to talk to you for a moment. I want us to look at the lives of a few of these people and decide if we should emulate or avoid their decision making. Emulate or avoid. I looked up the word emulate because I'm not as smart as some of you. The word emulate means to strive to equal or to imitate. To strive to equal or to imitate. You remember back in the day when you were like, they said, what's your name? What's your name? Stop copying me. Stop copying me. Right? Imitate. Y'all remember that? Most of y'all did that. Some of y'all still doing that. Write this first verse down. 1 Corinthians 11:1. 1 Corinthians 11:1. It says, be ye followers of me, even as also, let me say that again, even as I also am of Christ. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Listen to how it reads in the New Living Translation. It says, and you should imitate me just as I imitate Christ. Imitate me when I'm doing it God's way. Don't imitate everything I do. Right? Because this is what I've learned in life. We can learn from every single person on this planet. There's something you do that I could benefit from. And then there's some things in your life that I need to not do. Right? So if you're going to imitate me when you see me doing it God's way. Then I looked up the word avoid. Avoid means to keep away from or to refrain. Write this one down. 1 Thessalonians 5:22. It says, abstain from all appearance of evil. Abstain from all appearance of evil. The New Living Translation says it like this. Stay away from every kind of evil. I'm a firm believer, as I said a second ago, that you can learn from everybody in every situation. My sons are 14 and 12, and I learn something from them all the time. All the time. They come home, I'm like, Dad, did you know? I'm like, I didn't know that. How did you know that? First, I got to make sure it's true. Because, nowadays they look at the internet and everything on the internet's got to be true, Dad. No, trust me, that's not true. But there's so much I learned from them. Sometimes you learn in life what you should add to your life. Sometimes you learn in life what you should never allow in your life. I used to work with a guy years ago. It was probably 20 some years ago, and he was in his 50s then, so he's probably 107 now, right? And he told me that every single male in his family was an alcoholic. Everyone, his dad, his brothers, his uncles, every male in his family was an alcoholic. So he chose he would never, ever drink anything. Never. Right? So some will say stuff like this: just because it happened to them, don't mean it's going to happen to me. And then some people will say, if there's a chance it can happen to me, I'm going to avoid it. So he has, for the last 100 and how many years I said? Y'all were paying attention? For all those years, he has abstained from that in his life. I'm sure he's not a perfect man, but that was an area he chose to not even allow here because it might, just might, get me too. So we have to decide daily what we will emulate and what we will avoid. Let's get to some stories. Are you ready? Write this one down. Genesis chapter 2, verse 17. Genesis 2:17. It says this: but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely what? Die. I was just making sure my son had it on the screen, and he did. He gets a bonus this week. Thou shalt not eat of it. We know this story. Familiar with this story? Adam and Eve. This is just Adam right now, though. God says, hey, Adam, look, I give you everything. You literally have everything except one thing. There's only one thing I don't want you to deal with. Just don't deal with this. And then he created Eve after that. Now, skip over one chapter to go to chapter 3. And we're going to look at verse 2 through 4 and then skip to verse 6. Verse 2 says, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave it also to her husband with her, and he did eat. Emulate or avoid? What do you say? Avoid. Okay, just making sure you're awake. Look at Eve's downward spiral. She touched it. She tasted it. Then she talked someone else into enjoying it too. He said, don't eat this. Eve said, he said, don't even touch this. She touched it. She tasted it. She talked someone else into it. Think about our lives, how often this happens to us. Some of you, your area of weakness is because someone talked you into it. Right? Some of us, we've touched what we knew God said don't touch. We've tasted what he said don't you dare taste. And then we say, hey, have you had a little bit of this? Whatever it is. And they're like, oh, my goodness, I like this too. 2 lives are ruined. It's best to avoid dialogue with the enemy. He's a smooth talker. He's smooth. He knows exactly what to say to get you to listen. James 4:7 tells us to resist the devil and he will flee from you. Resist. It doesn't say correct him. It don't say, hey, devil, I know what you up. Resist him. It doesn't say to argue with him. We want to show that, hey, I can fight too, devil. All right. I'm telling you, it's best to resist him. It doesn't say to fight, combat him. It says to resist him. If you resist him, he will flee from you. It takes strength just to resist. A lot of us think if I resist, that means I'm weak. No, that shows that you are smart enough to assess the situation and keep your mouth shut. Watch him play his hand and then trump him. I shouldn't use that term. And then beat him. We need to avoid having any dealings with the devil. We have to be alert because he sneaks his messages into everything. The music you like, slow it down sometimes and listen to it. I know I didn't know he said that. I know. The movies you like, all of a sudden you have these urges that you didn't know they were there, but that movie you saw last week, it keeps popping in your head. The devil is smooth. I got about 3 or 4 texts from buddies. They were like, hey, are you seeing what they're doing at the Olympics? I'm like, what are they doing? So they had all these drag queen and transgender people imitating the Last Supper. And so Christians worldwide are upset. They're hot about this. And I thought to myself, how many of us Christians are so angry, but we don't live for them anyway? You see what I'm saying? Like, why are you so frustrated that they're mimicking or making fun of what you believe when you really don't believe it yourself? Because what you believe, you will obey, and what you obey, you'll become. And for some reason, I'm not noticing that I'm becoming like Christ because I am emulating something else. We must avoid giving an audience to the enemy. If you give him your attention, he will use every moment to spread doubt and confusion in your mind. I guarantee you, everybody in this room has had this thought. What if God really ain't real? If you say you haven't had that thought, you are not telling the truth. And Usher, take him out right now. You've had that thought because the devil, that's one of the first ones he planted. What if I am sacrificing all the fun I can have in life to live an upright life and God ain't even real? I told you I had a student ask me that one day, Coach, what if you live the way you live your whole life and find out that God's not real? I said, great question. I said, what if you live your whole life the way you do and find out that he is? He shook his head. He was like, okay, I can receive that. Yeah, write this one down. Matthew chapter 23, verse 23 through 26. It says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Now, let me read it to you from the New Living Translation. Sit up straight for this one. I like this one. It says, what sorrow awaits you teachers of religious law and you Pharisees, hypocrites. And after hypocrite, there's an exclamation point. So this is Jesus. Can you feel Jesus saying these words? Hypocrite. All right. For you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law: justice, mercy, faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things. Blind guides, you strain your water so you don't accidentally swallow a gnat, but you swallow a camel. What sorrow awaits you teachers of the religious law and you Pharisees, hypocrites? Calls them that twice. For you are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee. I don't know why when I said at that time I saw Fred Sanford. I don't know why. You know, remember when he said, you fish-eyed fool? That's what I saw. First, wash the inside of the cup and the dish, and then the outside will become clean too. We must avoid. We're still talking avoid. We must avoid overlooking important spiritual matters and only focusing on the religious rituals. Like, I paid my tithe. I am a good Christian. Yes, you are. Good job. Very proud of you. It's great that we do the things we do. Just a few minutes ago, we sang. Christy led us into a beautiful song. Y'all sang today. I was proud of y'all. We clapped. Some of us offbeat, right? We prayed. We even paid our tithe. I'm looking in the basket now. There's a few in there, but I know most of you pay on Cash App. I know you've done your duties. You've done well today. But what's greater is if you leave this room and you display Christ out there. See, what you did in here was good. What you do out there is the greater thing. What you do tomorrow means a lot to God. Will you seek justice tomorrow? Will you extend mercy tomorrow? Will you exercise your faith tomorrow? Or is that just something we talk about on Sunday? When we're not in this building is when you really get to shine. So we must avoid, there it is again, avoid trying to give the appearance that we got it all together in our spiritual lives and hold others to a standard that we know our lives is a hot mess and we ain't nowhere near that standard. But sister, you know you should be doing better. But if sister could see my life, if sister could peek in Brother Cody's room, she find out, oh my God, he telling me to do right and look at him. Let's look at one more and then we'll get off avoid and jump into some emulating. Matthew 26, write this down. Matthew 26, verse 14 through 16. It says, then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, what will you give me? And I will deliver him up unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time, he sought opportunity to betray him. We familiar with this story? Okay. You know what? I have read this story so many times, but I never caught this thing. Columbus, go back to verse 14. It says, then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto them. I always felt like they came to him. I never thought that he actually went to them. It wasn't that we got to get in with one of his guys and then we can sneak in and we can destroy everything Jesus is doing. He actually approached them. Did y'all know that, or was it just me that's slow today? We must avoid chasing after that which is temporal and chase only that which is eternal. Because money is temporal. And we spend most of our lives chasing after money and we don't chase after God. When money is our motivator, hear me on this. When money is our motivator, I promise you we will be presented with many opportunities to sell Jesus out. Many opportunities. I told y'all about the dream I had, right? And the Hollywood exec said, we want you to do a love scene. I said, I don't do love scenes. Let my stunt double do it. They were like, no, we want you to do the love scene. I'm like, no, I just told you, he does all my love scenes. Let my stunt double do it. They come back with this crazy amount of money. I don't remember how much it was. I just know it was so much that I started sweating in my dream. And then when I woke up, I said, Lord, what are you trying to say to me? Because again, like I told you before, that wasn't a dream that I felt like was just a dream. I felt like God was trying to speak to my heart about something. And the only thing I can put my finger on is that you need to be alert and aware that you do not sell me out for something that looks so good. Hold on to your integrity at all costs. We have to avoid letting money motivate us. Matthew 16:26 says this, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? The NLT says it like this: and what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? Life would be so much more peaceful. I promise you this, if we would learn contentment. Not complacency. There's a difference. Complacency is when you're at a position that God doesn't want you at and you're okay with being down here. Contentment means I don't have all the stuff that I think I want, and I'm okay with that. Because as long as I got King Jesus, y'all almost made me sing it. I've been lied on, cheated, talked about, mistreated. When those words actually ring true for you, it changes everything. As long as I got King Jesus, I don't need nobody else. I don't need nothing else. So yeah, my car makes funny noises when I drive it, but I'm not rushing to the dealership to get another one. I would rather have a few dollars in my pocket to put into the offering plate than to have a new car and wonder how I'm going to pay for it next month. But see, that's what contentment does for you. Somebody said to my wife, you got a new car? My wife said, well, it's not new. It's new to me. Oh, so my car's a 2011. 2011. I don't do math, but 24 minus 11 is 13, ain't it? Her car's 13 years old. She is content. I'm so happy she's content. Because I already scoped out all the blood banks. How much y'all give for plasma? My wife on a new car. I got to get her that new car. Contentment is powerful, y'all. But when you become content, it will protect your heart from selling Jesus out like Judas did. It will protect you because you're like, I don't need all that. I mean, if you look in my closet, I already got 12 pairs of shoes. What do I need one more for? The youth department did say they needed some new booklets. Well, I would, but I ain't got it this week. You got it. I see it on your feet. Believe it or not, much of our anxiety and worry comes from being discontent. Pastor told us once that when we die, someone's going to wear my shoes. I said, I feel you on that, Pastor. He said, when you die, someone else is going to drive your car. They can have it. Mine's older than my wife's. He said, when you die, someone else is going to have your wife. I said, hold it right there, Pastor. You could have stopped at the car. You ain't finna just marry my wife off. I'm taking her with me. The government get ready to shoot. Hold on, government. Hold on. Follow me home. My wife's at the house. Shoot her first. I got to make sure she goes with me. No, I can't do it. I got to keep her with me. We must avoid falling into the trap of wanting all the world has to offer and forfeiting the greatest gift of all. Judas walked with the Messiah and sold him out for 30 pieces of silver? 30 pieces, that ain't that much, y'all. I didn't change money exchange it for today's amount, but I guarantee you would still say that wasn't enough. So we just learned that we must avoid giving an audience to the enemy. It's only going to get us in more trouble. We just learned that we must avoid falling into the trap of being self-righteous. We got to focus on what God considers important: justice, mercy, faith. We just learned that we must avoid chasing after that which is temporary and fading away. And instead, we should pursue a lasting relationship with Christ. So let's quickly look at a few people we should emulate. Y'all ready? Anybody remember what emulate means? To imitate, to copy, right? Daniel chapter 3, verse 14 through 18. Write it down. Daniel chapter 3, verse 14 through 18. It says, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, It is true. Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made, well. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Verse 16, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Familiar with this story? Nebuchadnezzar made a huge statue. I think they said it was like 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide. And he says, whenever the music plays, every single person in the whole land must bow down and worship the statue. Well, we're believers. God says, worship me and only me. You should not have any other gods except me. So when the music starts, they look around, they start seeing everybody going down and kneeling. Even my cousin, what you doing? My cousin knelt. Hey, I ain't finna get in trouble for this stuff, man. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was standing up. Everybody looking at them like, y'all better get down here with us. Like, nah, man. What did the Lord tell us? Then they went back and they told the king, hey, king, you ain't gonna like this. You got 3 guys. Matter of fact, 3 guys that you keep showing favoritism to. The music played and they did not bow down. So he calls them in. He talks to them. He says, Shadrach, Meshach, say it ain't so. Tell me this is not true. When you heard the music, y'all didn't bow down? I tell you what, I'll give you another chance. If you hear it this time and you bow, we're good. I won't throw you in. But if you refuse again at that same time, you got to go in the fiery furnace. These guys' response is what I want us to emulate. It does not matter what you do to me. I refuse to bow down. I refuse to bow down. So no matter what the world offers or threatens to take away, we should be like the Hebrew boys here. We will not bow, we will not break, and we will not deny our faith for fear of what happens next. That's what you emulate. One of the most compelling examples of this type of dedication happened in 1999. April 20th, 1999, in a small town in Colorado. There was a high school called Columbine High School. You guys probably remember this. And there was 2 boys who entered the school that morning on a rampage to harm as many people as they could. And they killed 13 people, and 2 of them were girls that they asked before shooting, are you a Christian? Do you believe in God? And they said yes, and then they took their lives. Now imagine we wouldn't be telling their story some 25 years later if they had compromised their faith. The world is full of people who compromise their faith. We are talking about people that stayed strong. In the face of death and danger, they stayed strong. So what should we emulate? I will not bow down. And believe it or not, I think we're in for some heavy, heavy, heavy decisions coming our way in the next few years. I don't know what they are. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that we're getting ready to have to make some tough choices. So we got to stay prayed up because we're not going to even, sometimes the devil, again, I told you, he's sneaky. One person's going to be able to tell us a trick from the devil, but because I'm not so keen, that ain't nothing from the devil. That's just the blah, blah, blah. That's just them adding a chip so we can get our grocery. Wait, is that from the devil? I don't know. Lord, this is why we have to pray for discernment. Lord, help me to not be deceived into thinking it's just how we do things new in the world and knowing this is something I have to say no to. Give me the strength to emulate the 3 Hebrew boys, that when my life is on the line, I still will not bow. I still will not bow. Whether God rescues you or not, whether he changes your situation or not, set the dial of your heart. Set it right now to serve God no matter what. And then throw away the key. Because it's going to be so easy to change it back if you hold on to the key. You know, if I'm in class and I got a kid talking too much, I say, lock it up, throw me the key. No, you got to throw me the key. And once he throws it to me, I throw it way over there. You can't find it now. You can't talk no more. Forever. If you hold on to the key, guess what you're going to do? You're going to unlock it again. When you bring something to the altar, don't get up and take it back with you. Set your heart to serve God no matter what, and then throw it away. Mark chapter 1, verse 16 through 20. Write this down. I'm almost done. Mark chapter 1, verse 16 through 20. It says, now as he walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said unto them, come ye after me, and I will make you become fishers of men. And straightway they forsook their nets and followed him. And when he had gone a little further thence, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, who also were in the ship mending their nets. And straightway he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the ship with the hired servants and went after him. When Jesus called these men, they followed immediately. No delay, no excuse, no reservation. Jesus says, Peter, Andrew, follow me. They straightway. Straightway is what the King James says, straightway. The NIV says immediately. Immediately, they jumped out of the boat. We with you, Jesus. Then he goes a little further and he sees John and his brother, James and John. Hey, James, y'all come follow me. They got out, left their daddy. They're holding the net. All right, Pops, we gone. Boys, hey, you know I can't do all this by myself. Hey, the Lord has called me. I must go. We should emulate the disciples and drop everything we're doing to follow Jesus. What if he didn't come back the next day to ask them again? What if this day is the only day you get to say, I will follow you? Now, here's what I love. You don't have to be perfect to follow Jesus. Every one of the men that Jesus called had issues to work out. Yet Jesus still called them. Peter and Andrew, follow me. Peter, I got a lot of work to do with you, fella. Just follow me. You're going to wear me out, Peter, but I'm going to keep working with you. You guys know Peter's story. He even said to Judas, Judas, come on, follow me. The one I just read you about. You don't have to be perfect to come to Jesus. Just know that when you come to him, he's going to work with you and continue to perfect you every day. Jesus is going to walk with these men every single day for 3 years, and they still got issues they got to work out. Yet Jesus calls them. And today, Jesus is calling you and he's calling me. Will we emulate the disciples and leave our old lives behind immediately? Or will we be like the guys in Luke chapter 9? One of them said, Lord, I'll follow you wherever you go. Jesus says, foxes have dens. Birds have nests. I ain't got nowhere to lay my head. That silenced him. Then he looked at another guy and said, hey, follow me. He said, I'll follow you, but can I go bury my dad first? Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. He looks at another one. Hey, you come on, follow me. Hey, I'll follow you, but let me go back and say bye to everybody first. I wonder how many of us got a big old butt in the way. I would follow you, Jesus, but I'm not ready yet. See, I know I'm gonna be a good follower one day, but like right now, I'm not ready yet. Do you know the enemy will make sure that you are never ready? You don't have to be perfect to follow Jesus. Just get out of the boat. Just get out of the boat. He says to another, and they said, first let me go bury my father. First let me go say goodbye. And what we've learned in our lives is that if God does not come first, he is not your Lord. Anything that comes before God is an idol in our lives. So Jesus is calling all of us to follow him, and we have to decide who we will emulate. Will we agree to follow him, but after we get a couple things together? Or will we make up our minds today that as soon as Brother Cody stopped talking, I'm going to dedicate my life to Jesus and keep walking with him? I feel y'all said the second one, so I'm going to hurry up and stop talking. Last one. Philippians chapter 2, verse 8. Write it down. Philippians 2 and 8. It says, and being found in the fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. We must emulate Christ. We must humble ourselves. Remember our role in this life and then carry out our role in this life. Jesus knew his role. He knew what he had to do. Obedience isn't always easy. I'll say that again because some of y'all missed it. Obedience isn't always easy. Trust me, Jesus understands this. Because if you look at Luke chapter 22, verse 42, it says this, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Obedience is not always easy, but it's doable. It's okay that you're uneasy with what may happen next in life. That's okay. And it's okay that you might have questions and concerns. That is okay. It is so important that in these moments we emulate Jesus and respond to God with an emphatic, yes, Lord, I will do your will no matter what. Not my will, but thine. At the time he said this, they said that he was sweating like drops of blood. He was depressed. He was feeling the deepest low of the lows. He knows what's coming. He's about to be crucified, not for his sins, but for yours and mine. And he says, Lord, Father, is there any other way we can do this? But I will do what you tell me no matter what. So we have to say, Lord, help me to bend my will to your will. Strengthen me so that I may obey you no matter the results. We have to emulate Jesus. 1 Peter 1 and 16 says, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. Emulate that. Matthew 5:48 says, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which in heaven is perfect. Emulate that. Ephesians 5 and 1, it says, be ye therefore followers of God as dear children. The NLT says this, imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are his dear children. Imitate God in everything you do. So we'd be wise to emulate the three Hebrew boys and stand strong no matter the consequences. We'd be wise to emulate the disciples and follow Christ immediately. That means today. We would be wise to emulate Jesus and humble ourselves and obey God until our very last breath. Emulate or avoid. It's your choice. It's your choice. And as I always say, thank you for lending me your ear. I pray that you'll give God your hearts. God bless you.